Our panel is here for more of this. Essie, this spells new uncertainty about voting rules for the midterms. I had experts on earlier today that said that the timing here most likely would not impact the midterms, but potentially has consequences for elections after that. I'm specifically looking at the 28 presidential election.
Yeah, but I actually think even just like having this conversation today impacts the midterms, right? Because you said it, the U word, uncertainty, is what this is going to create. It's the last thing that voters want is more uncertainty. And it's, I think, the main thing that Trump wants, even more than the logistics of this ruling and whatever it means years down the line. He's getting what he wants in the moment, which is more uncertainty around these elections. He's been trying to sow that uncertainty for a really long time.
And now when you have the Supreme Court weighing in what appears, at least in the short run, to be a victory for him, he views that as a positive. But Chris, you are running, a Democrat running for Congress. How are you responding to this? What concerns do you have now following this ruling?
I mean, this is every opportunity that Donald Trump has taken to disenfranchise voters. And so it's creating a serious concern. I mean, when I talk to voters across the district, they're worried about having a free and fair election at the end of the day. But the idea is that, I mean, we live in America and we should have free and fair elections. And so, I mean, what voters are really talking about, they're talking about the kitchen table issues. And, you know, that's really what the conversation is. It's like, you know, we're in a war now. We're trying to put gas in our car and food on our tables. Those are the conversations that they're having, and you know, being afraid about being able to go vote now, just adding to the pile of worry and concern is just it's a problem.
Joe, the president used primetime real estate, giving a speech talking about election insecurity here just a few weeks ago. Now this ruling from the Supreme Court. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's not an issue just because Trump is talking about it. Democrats spent the entire first term of the Trump presidency convincing people that Russia interfered in our election and somehow it wasn't unsafe. Poll after poll after poll over the last 8 years have shown that Americans, by and large, even bipartisan Americans, feel that elections aren't as secure as they need to be. And no, you can't say that every mail-in ballot or every paper ballot is a fraudulent ballot. That's not true. But almost every time where you find validated cases of fraud, you are seeing it being done through some sort of paper ballot. So this is an issue that Trump has taken up. He campaigned on it. He vowed to do it. And now we're seeing some of the fruits of that.
Trump votes by mail.
There's no question about it. Look, and again, this is not to
and he admits to it.
This is not to eliminate all paper ballots. This is to make it more secure.
But the other thing is, too, there hasn't been any statistics that actually have shown, like...
Census Bureau came out this week saying that 24,000 non-citizens voted in American elections in 2020. So and that's the Census Bureau. That's not a Republican or right-wing, not exactly known to be a conservative organization. This is the Census Bureau saying 24,000 non-citizens voted in 2020.
Okay, Joe, just stick with me because I want to ask you something that we saw there for a moment. 3 years ago, President Trump flew to Fulton County, Georgia, and became the first U.S. president with a mugshot. There you see it right there. The official Republican account on X posted, quote, "They did everything they could to stop him, and they failed." Now, while the official account for Trump's political operation posted, "Let this be a lesson to every American. When your back is against the wall and life gets rough, you must never surrender." Is that something the Republican Party should be celebrating?
This was supposed to sink Donald Trump. Instead, it resurrected him. If you think about where we were when this happened, Trump was not winning in any poll, right? You had this thing come out. It was supposed to be humiliating, and it ended up serving as a rallying cry for a lot of Republicans. Now you combine that with what we just heard from Michael Cohen, with the J6 case against Trump collapsing, with the Manhattan document case collapsing. It gives a lot of runway to what Republicans and what Trump has made the case of, that there's lawfare against him. That's what that picture symbolizes, and that's what led him to win re-election.
Chris, I see your signs throughout Long Island. I was just telling my son, hey, you know that Chris Gallant who we always see his signs for? Well, he's going to be on the show. When voters come to you, maybe they're undecided, even some Democratic voters, and raise some of those concerns that they have, how do you respond to that? Are they valid at all?
At the end of the day, you know, we were promised that Donald Trump in 2015, when he decided to run, said he was going to drain the swamp. And what happened? He turned around and created a swamp of his own. The idea is that we've been lied to constantly. We've been had promises made, and none of them have been kept. Life is not easier. Groceries are more expensive. I used the example, I was deployed in 22 to 23, and before I left on that deployment, you could fill a shopping cart for $100. I came back, and I'm telling you, the sticker shock was unbelievable. Just grocery prices, and now look at gas prices. Gas prices. This was a choice of the reason why gas prices are continuing to rise. Voters want to make life more easier, and they want to be able to go and vote in November. This is going to be the most consequential election of our lifetime. I know we say this every year, but this is the year that it's really going to matter and make a difference.
Perhaps a consequential election like no other in Alaska either. There is a lot of confusion here. A new wild wrench in the U.S. Senate race there. Former Anchorage Mayor Dan Sullivan has backed Senator Dan Sullivan to beat challenger Dan Sullivan. Now, the all-party primary was held there last week. It looks like both Dan Sullivans will be on the ballot in November with only a middle initial differentiating them. Democrat Mary Peltola did pretty well, winning 48% of the vote compared to current Senator Dan S. Sullivan's nearly 43%. All of this name confusion probably isn't helping Sullivan.
Well,
S.E.
Sullivan number one. S. Sullivan seems to be doing pretty well. I don't think J. Sullivan is eating too much into his count. If that was the intended goal, we don't know if that was the intended goal. There's been some suggestion that that was the intended goal. We don't know. But the fact that this race in Alaska is competitive is really remarkable. I've been to Alaska a number of times, and every time I go, I'm reminded that it's incredibly expensive to live there. In any time, right? Because they have to import so much from the lower 48. It's very expensive. Well, now it's even more expensive because of dumb decisions like tariffs and a war that no one wanted. And Alaska voters are really paying attention to this issue of affordability. They don't like the way that Trump and Republicans are talking about it like it's a hoax. It's not a hoax for them. For them, it is deadly serious. And that's why I think Mary Peltola is doing so well.
So, Joe, how worried are Republicans about Alaska? How much money are they willing or having to spend now for this race? And do you think Republicans are responding to concerns about the economy and the price at the gas pump and at the grocery store adequately enough?
Look, certainly the economy, broadly speaking, is the biggest vulnerability that Republicans face in the midterms. But, you don't get this Dan Sullivan dirty trick because Democrats feel like they're in a good place. And there is some metadata tying the new Dan Sullivan back to some Democratic consultants. I think what you're seeing is Mary Peltola, who came out with a lot of steam. Now the onion is getting peeled back. You're finding out that she fought for middle-class tax increases. Her campaign is falling apart. Her campaign staff is leaving. She's out there begging for Kamala Harris's endorsement.
She's ahead.
All these things are starting to come
in
out
Alaska
against her. And I think you're seeing some desperate moves by Democrats in the state.
All right, panel, we'll leave it there. Good to see you. Thank you.